Okay, testing, 1, 2, testing. Let's see. If there's anybody in the room, can you let me know if you can hear me? By typing 1, if my sound is coming through okay. Testing. Can you hear me okay? Can someone type 1? Hey, you doing, Bishop? Nazarene? Hey, thanks a lot, Dwayne. Thanks, bro. All right, then that means that I have permission to continue. Let's see. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity. I pray you give me the ability to speak and to encourage and to say things that are relevant to my brethren, whoever will listen, whoever will see this video, that you use me to share things that we should know about. Creator, pray that my brethren, for the times we're getting ready to go through, we're going through right now, that you will surround us, that you'll sustain us. And as we see the end of this reality, this kingdom, and the kingdom, your kingdom coming on earth, that you'll comfort us. You will give us wisdom, knowledge, and light, knowing that you are going to raise the FAITHIST up in the world, and that you are going to put an end to the current system of things that we're living in right now. Help me. Jehovah, help me. Help me, help me. Help me to speak. Help me to read. Help me to understand in your name. So let it be. All right. Thank you, brethren. My name is Yaquab Ben Yisrael. Thanks for joining me, my channel, where I'm a FAITHIST, meaning I subscribe to the OAHSPE. The OAHSPE, the book that you see on the screen, I subscribe to that. I believe that it is the only hope for mankind. I believe that this here is the only hope for mankind. And that's a pretty bold statement. It was published in the 1800s. Whenever I tell people about it, they come down on it because they say it's written by a white man, a dentist. And so they close the book. They don't look at it. And you don't remember that the creator or false gods opened the mouth of a donkey in Deuteronomy 20, or was it Numbers 23? Open the mouth of a donkey. And people subscribe to the Bible, yet a donkey spoke to a man. Remember Balaam's donkey? But when you tell people that the creator, he used a man to give a revelation, that's just too much. A white man at that? No, that's too much, man. I ain't gonna believe it. That's okay. I'm not here to force anybody. I'm not here to try to The creator himself, he says, don't try to recruit people. Don't push this word on people. People have to come to this light in their own time. I agree with that. I love it. My only problem is that this is some good word right here. This is some great knowledge. This is what the world needs. It's the only hope for mankind. Nobody wants it. So today, I titled the name of the video, A True Faithist from a Fake Faithist, and I'm not going to be that. That's a pretty harsh sounding title, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to recap what I did last week. I did some reading from Radiance Anthology. I'm going to do the same thing today. I'm going to read what I read last week because I deleted the video because we had towards the end of the video, it turned into it was it turned into a lot of friction. A lot of friction came out of that last video. A lot of friction came out of that last video. So much so that I just decided to not even edit it. I just wanted to get rid of the whole thing. A lot of friction came out of that last video. And I'm going to speak on what happened last week too. During the reading, I'm going to the false churches again, or the 7 churches. Talk about some new understanding I was given. Talk about how real the warnings that those churches were given, how it happened right here in this room. One of those churches, it applied to what happened in this room, in this channel last week. It struck me that one of those examples happened right here in that room, and I'm going to share it with y'all. So I'm going to read from Radiance Anthology again. It was called The Ministry Message. It was a very heavy message, and I wanted to read it because the time that we're living in right now, the time that we're living in right now is equal to a sinking ship. It's equal to a sinking ship, man. And I also learned just a couple days ago, I've been talking about Pluto going into Aquarius. Now, the OAHSPE, you don't phrase it that way. OAHSPE, you don't phrase the time that we're living in right now as Pluto going into Aquarius. It phrases it as a time where the Earth, the solar phalanx, I forget what it's called, the Earth and the serpent and the planets is traveling through an area of Etheria, where I have to think it's the area that it's a dense region, darkness. When you pass through it, it brings on the type of things that we're seeing right now in the world, called Agi and Gia, that when we travel through these, see, what I'm talking about right now is equal to, say, you're driving a car, you go from one state to the next. You know, you go from Ohio to Indiana, you know, you go to Tennessee, and, you know, you leave Ohio where it was sunshine and, you know, sunshine, blue skies, and then you go to Tennessee or you go to Indiana and it's raining and storming. You know what I mean? You get to Tennessee, it's snowing. That's equal to our reality as a whole. That's equal to what we go through in our, you know, we're in a time, and I'm talking about speaking from worldly point of view, where we see the end of the king. We see the end of the kingdom of man, the end of this current reality. And oh shoot, you know, I forgot. I wanted to say one thing before I go on with my monologue here. I wanted to offer to anyone listening, one of the things that I love to do is I like to, if anyone is interested and you're looking at my video, I want to, if I can just pull it up on the screen here, I'm trying to. The Unknown Many. If I could just get it to come up on the screen. Bear with me, brother. I'm trying to do something here. I want to offer to anybody who's looking at the OAHSPE. On the screen is a supplemental work for the OAHSPE that I'm offering for free. I mean, if you're a little tight on funds, if you are a little short on, the Unknown Many, they have put out a 6-volume set. I'll give you let you look at the inside, what's on the inside of it. The Unknown Many have put out a 6-volume set. That's a supplement to the OAHSPE. This is what it looks like on the inside. The black and white pages, the pages with the black and white. The Unknown Many have put out a 6-volume set. Let me make sure you're seeing this on the screen. Okay. It keeps going back and forth on me. Okay, now the Unknown Many have put out a 6-volume set, a supplement to the OAHSPE, and it's meant for people with short attention spans. It's meant for, this is what the inside of this book, these sets of books look like. Okay, this is what the inside of these books look like. And it's meant to appeal to people with short attention spans. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just saying to get people's attention by way of just hitting you with subject matter, picking out different verses and then putting a subject matter on it. And if you want one, let me send it to you for free. I'll send it to you for free, man, Now, don't take advantage of a brother, because I'm not a rich man, but I believe in the Creator. I'm rooting for the Creator. This word is priceless. This word is too priceless for the world not to have. And if you'd really like to have one, all you got to do is just get in contact with me. All you got to do is get in contact with me, man. I'll send it to you for free. It's a 6-volume set. And the Unknown Many have put it out. And so at some point, I firmly believe the whole world is going to know about not only this, but there are brethren writing books. And this information is going to be known all over the world. And it's a really big help to get you to see the OAHSPE, to kind of get a quick look at what it's all about through subject matter. So just get in touch with me, and I'll be glad to send it out to you for free. It's on Amazon. So, okay, good enough. So now let's get back. Now, I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to do the reading. I'm going to do the reading that I did last week. I scrapped the whole video that I did last week. I just tore down the whole thing. I just deleted the whole video. There was some friction during the video towards the end. And I'm going to talk about that towards the end of the video, what I learned. And it was pretty serious, man. Had a sister, had a brother in there, brought some confusion, brought some friction. We had a new brother to the channel, and it seemed to be going good. Everything seemed to be going good. And I want to share with you, brethren, the inspiration that came on me about the video and what took place during that video. I want to share with you. And I hope it's I hope it really helps us to understand the situation that we are in. So the another thing too that the FAITHIST website for anybody interested, the FAITHIST website, you can go there for information and for different like materials and information. The FAITHIST website, you can go there for information. Like we have a weekly Bible study that we do every Wednesday. It's important for us at a time like this to get together, man, to listen to each other talk. This channel here is for people, it's for FAITHIST, man. One of the things I hope we do is we get on, you come on. Matter of fact, I should put the link in my room. If you click on this link during my live, it'll bring you on stage. I'll bring you on the video. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. So let me put the link in the room. So here's the website. And before I go into the reading, what I read last week from Radiance Anthology, I want to talk a little bit about the situation we're in the world. Brethren, let me say something. Do you, brethren, know that there are countries that are running out of fuel, oil, and gas? Did y'all know that? Do you know right now, the situation that we're in? There are brethren in Australia, in Asia, like India, Malaysia. Do you know that these brethren are running out of oil and gas? They are running clean out because of the situation, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz over there in the Middle East. Do you brethren realize that in a few more months, that's going to be our situation? Maybe not so much as what's going on overseas, because America can produce a lot of fuel and oil. But how would you like to be? Matter of fact, here, I'll show you. I've been looking at this all day, man, on YouTube. I've been looking at this stuff all day, man, you know. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me see if I can show you, man. You know, I don't think I'm gonna get what I want. I'm gonna have to do it differently. I was just gonna show you video. See, here's one right here. The LPG crisis, that's liquefied natural gas in India, Punjab and Rajasthan. Some of these people have been standing in line for a week for gas. A week. Now, I have to do it like this. I was hoping I could just scroll to like videos where they talk about that, but what I have to do is punch it up. So I have to punch it up. Australians running out of oil and gas. Okay. Now, I'm bringing this up because I've been talking on my videos. See, look here. I've been talking about Pluto going into Aquarius, but the OAHSPE describes it differently. It don't describe the time we're living in as Pluto going into Aquarius. The OAHSPE don't describe it like that. The OAHSPE describes it as we're traveling through Etheria, and when we're going through Etheria like this, we go into dense regions of darkness, regions of light. Now the world, they call it Pluto going into Aquarius. I just learned that that's not in the OAHSPE. I assumed it was. Pluto going into Aquarius is not in the OAHSPE. But the world just describes it differently. Pluto going into Aquarius. And that means, basically, in a nutshell for you, brethren, what's going on right now in this world, we are witnessing the end of life the way we have always known it. Now, I don't want to sound bombastic, man. And what I mean by that, these videos I got on the screen right now, look at that. Australia's fuel reserves just ran out. Now, imagine you live there. Imagine you where you are. And this applied to you. You know what I mean? Look at this. This real life. Fuel shock grips Australia. Strait of Hormuz update. Australia running out of. Now I could bring up what's going on in Japan, in India. Matter of fact, I want to show you that one in India. If you think I'm kidding, look at this. East Indians waiting in line for 1 week for gas. Check this out. You know, panic buying and fuel shortages in India during late March have led to long queues at petrol stations. Those long queues, some of these people, look, they got like videos, people waiting a week. You see what's going on in our world? This is our world. This is the red star passing through AG. I think it's AG because that's more denser. I think AG is denser than Gia. We passing through an area of darkness. We passing through a area that sparks revolutions and changes. The last time, from what I can understand, was at the end of the Ark of Bond that we passed through this type of region where the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution took place, the Haitian Revolution, the American Revolution. The last time, now, I think there are degrees of AG that we pass through. Again, as I was saying before, I described it as Pluto going into Aquarius. Pluto wasn't discovered till 1930. And Aquarius is not one of the, it might be one of the houses of the Ankh, the O-N-K. That's how the OAHSPE describes the zodiac. I have to look into it. But it's not listed as one of the planets. You know, I mean, it may be one of the houses of the zodiac, but when you look at the OAHSPE, the Ankh, the O-N-K, the planets listed are different than the planets that, you know, the zodiac lists. And so the world says this is a time where Pluto is in Aquarius, and when that conjunction happens, you get what you get right now. Now, the OAHSPE describes it differently. It says that we're entering a region where this type of trouble is going to happen. Why? Because this structure, this system of things, it's time for it to end. The oppression of the people, the capitalism, where the few rule over the many to their hurt, taking advantage of people, the rich taking advantage of the poor. That's coming to an end. That's the reason for these events that we're seeing right now. And again, through this type of thing, I don't know if we went, I know that it was some type of darkness that we went through way back then. The last time the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, when they happened, it produced monumental changes, monumental, that basically had to do with freeing the people one way or another. We going through the same thing right now. Long lines as panic grows over fuel shortages, what it should read. Long lines for fuel in India's Ahmed, Ahmedabad as supplies run low. See, our world is changing for real, man. It's changing for real. Now, I hope to bless you, brethren, with something that I found. I'm getting ready to get to the reading pretty quick here. But I hope to bless you, brother, with something I found that applies to FAITHIST. Now, before I begin, matter of fact, I'm going to go to the reading. I'm going to do the reading because it's kind of lengthy. But I want to give a little update. I want to try to see if I can inspire somebody who might like to do something that I plan to do. Now, I've been sharing how I'd been in contact with the University of Arizona, and I haven't heard back. I expected to have met with them. I had expected to have met with them by now, and it appears to me that I'm just too low of a peon for them to listen to anything that I have to say, which is cool, that's cool with me. I expected them, they told me they were going to set up a meeting with me and have me meet with the administrator about the OAHSPE. Now, I have not met with them as of yet. So what I've decided to do is take matters in my own hands. Now, I'm saying this in hopes that I might inspire some of you brethren. Maybe you might decide to do what I plan to do. I plan to speak. They have a way to where you can set up like a little camp, and you can just bring a microphone. You have to get permission, and just set up like a little forum where you can just speak right there in the public square at the university. Now, I don't do it to recruit. If anybody has like some suggestions for me and some wisdom for me on how to proceed, I would appreciate it. I'm going through the process right now of applying for a permit where I can go down there and introduce the OAHSPE, introduce it to the university. You have to fill out a form. You got to fill out a form, and then they set a time aside for you. They have a place where you can go somewhere on the campus, and then you just do your presentation. They give you like so much time. And you just go down there and do your presentation. And so that's what I plan to do. Just go down there, set up, and just do a presentation, not to try to recruit anybody, but to introduce the University of Arizona to the OAHSPE. Now, there's got to be some faith that's going there. Got to be, man. Somebody got to know about this who going to that university. So my aim is to get in touch with them, to expose the OAHSPE, but somehow, man, to get this explosion started. Because we can't go on like this, man. The situation, the kingdom of men, this has got to stop, man. This has got to stop, man, because we can't go on like this. We can't go on where you got babies getting blown up, little girls, the current imbalances in the world today. We can't go on like this, man. So by putting that idea out there, I could spark another brother or brothers to approach your local university and ask to speak on campus, not with the idea of recruiting. You know what the OAHSPE says. Don't try to recruit, don't proselytize, but to introduce the OAHSPE to the world. Introduce it to the world and then just walk away and let the Creator do the rest of the work. So as time goes on, I'll keep you, brethren, updated. I realize that I'm going to have to use some initiative. The world ain't going to move, man, when it comes to learning new things. I think the Creator has tagged us with bringing this light to the world, to expose this light to the world, because the world is stagnating. And if anything, they're in a state of regression. And it's up to us. I believe it's up to FAITHIST to, I don't see some brother correct me if I'm wrong, man. You know, if I should just be holding my peace or if it's okay to try to spread the light. I'd like for some brother to give me some counsel on this because I would really appreciate it. And I know at some point the Creator is going to bring the kingdom, and we are the only light bearers in the world with this light that the world needs. Now, enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and do the reading that I did last week. I deleted that video that I did last week because of what took place at the end of the video. There was some friction that went out of the room on that video. I didn't like it. I just deleted the whole thing, man. I just deleted the whole thing. And I'm going to also speak about what I learned, what was given to me, about the brother and sister that brought the confusion and brought the acrimony into the room. I removed them from the room. And I'm going to speak to you, brethren, about something that was given, what I've learned. After I do the reading, I'm going to read about the 7 churches again. And I'm going to share with you, brethren, what I have learned. I'm not a Christian faithist, meaning I just sit back and I'll never say anything. I will say something when I think something needs to be said that might be hard to receive. I will say something. I know that Christianity teaches you to never say anything. Don't rock the boat. I will rock the boat for your own good. For your own good. And so I'm going to bring something out. I'm not going to mention names, but you brethren are going to know who I'm talking about. And I'm going to share with you the lesson I learned about what took place. So I think it's going to be impactful, you know. Now I'm going to read this. This is what I read last week. Okay, I'm not going to be looking at the screen. I'm just going to be, you know, thank you for joining me, whoever you are in the room. Thank you. I'll get with you after I finish doing the reading. Now I'm going to read this again. I'm going to read through it kind of quick, touch on some points, and then I'm going to read the 7 churches of Revelation again, metaphysically, and then I'm going to share what was given to me about what took place in that video that I did Friday, the lesson that I learned about the 2 spirits that were in the room that brought the acrimony and the confusion. I'm going to share about what I was given. So this is the reading that I did last week, and it was a reading that I felt led to give it, to do it. And I'm going to touch on the points when I get to them as to why I think I was given this message or why it was heavy on me to do this. So let me begin. I hope you can see it on the screen. I think you can see it pretty good on the screen. I hope you can. I hope you can see it pretty good on the screen. Okay. All right, so let's read. It says, ministry message. It says, I talk to you as a messenger from a very strange world, a world quite different from the one in which you are living. Some who have heard mediums may think that a spirit is talking through me, but it is my spirit who is talking, and I could unfold a tale of the possibilities of the human spirit that would seem unbelievable to most of you. Once in a while, a spirit comes back and tells of things in the next world. I live in the next world. Now, this is Radiance Anthology. This is from the book Radiance Anthology. It looks just like the OAHSPE Blue Book, very large encyclopedia book. They give it to you free when you order the OAHSPE, okay? And these are angel messages, to the best of my understanding. These messages are from a angel source, I would say a second resurrection angel, okay, working through a brother or sister, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Radiance Anthology are angel messages, okay? Now, he says, I live in the next world. In fact, I am conscious in 3 worlds. I can talk to you about what you know in the physical world and also about what spirits know in the spiritual world. I have devoted 16 hours of the 24 for 2/3 of my life learning the secrets beyond death. But I would not be happy or very helpful if, like most of the spirits that pass on, I did not know any more than is learned during the first year of spiritual sojourn in the spiritual world. So see, he's under the same influence I'm under. He knows something, he knows the light, and he cannot be quiet, man. He has to tell us about things that we don't know about in the spirit world. There are brothers like that. I know I'm not trying to make myself sound above anybody else or below, but I think we all want to share this light, man, because we see how the world needs it. This brother, he's saying he feels the same way. He says, I have learned about a third world, the celestial world. I have experienced its joy, its bliss, and the beauty of soul expression. I have beheld the wings who live in that world, all glorious, all perfect. So when I talk to you of strange and marvelous things, I'm not talking from books, but from what I know. I'm talking about what I know of you. I know marvelous things about you, and I know devilish things about you. I know so much about your nature that I cannot criticize. I can only sympathize. So I spend all my time trying to help that in you. All my time trying to help that in you and in others, which I know needs help. Because I've learned so much through my personal experience and through experiences with many others, as well as with spirits on different planes of existence, I can tell you things that you ought to know. I can help you reorient your life. That is to get it properly directed. You may be troubled now. You may be suffering. They said that Joshua said, in the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I've overcome the world. In that world I suffered. But I learned that we do not, and this is the Joshua of the OAHSPE, not of the New Testament. Although you know that the Jesus Christ of the New Testament, he said these exact same words, you see. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I've overcome the world. In that world I suffered, but I learned that we do not have to stay in that world. It is a state of mind. All that you have around you, the kind of people, the conditions of your home and work, all that you suffer are due to your present state of mental development. But by learning to create more constructively, you can have an entirely new world. There are a great many people just waiting for, there are a great many people just waiting for There are a great many people just waiting for the undertaker. They think they're going to escape trouble when they lose the physical body. Some go along day by day, worried about this, troubled about that, formulating many imaginary fears. Others believe that God will cast them into hell for some mortal sin. With all these thoughts that they have been creating, they have been creating a purgatory for themselves. Divine love never created a purgatory for anybody. The Creator never was so foolish as to think that any human soul could benefit by being imprisoned in hell. But human beings, ignorant of the Almighty's love, have imprisoned themselves in chambers of imagery and have created tremendous mental forces, more actual than any physical force, which cause them great suffering and unhappiness. Mental forces can be measured as scientists measure energy. Every thought you think is a mental pulsation of energy and creates a mental form that persists after you pass out of the body. If you've been a faithful devotee of certain religious order, intense in your imagination of what the priest has told you of the next world, you will find just what you imagine because he and your faith have created it for you. You have a mental body and you are surrounded by mental creations all the time you're in this world, but you do not realize it. You do not recognize the principle that the world around you gives back what you have generated in the past. You're always standing before a mirror, and what you're doing with your mind is reflected back to you. This is the great principle. Whatever you sow, that shall you also reap. If you've been sowing heaven, you will reap one. On the other hand, if you believe sincerely that someone ought to be put in hell for something they have done, you are helping to create a hell for those people. But the more intense the hell you create for them, the more intense your own hell will be, because your thought and desire are the cement which composes the walls of your own mental purgatory in the next world. Religious leaders have not preached this great principle of sowing and reaping. The Almighty made humanity co-creators. It is said that for every idle word, we shall be held to account. That is, we shall face every word, every thought, every feeling that we create. If that is true, it is worth knowing about. If you're not building the kind of structure in which you want to live, you would do well to spend the rest of your days in this world creating a better one. And let me stop right there for a second, man. In the OAHSPE, it says the same thing. I love to talk about that part of the OAHSPE. You remember when it says create or go make yourself? Remember that part in the OAHSPE where it said try to imagine the higher heavens? The Creator, he said, try to imagine. Now, you know, people can get pretty wild with their imagination. You know, they can get pretty wild. You can look on the earth and you see how you see how they go, they build their house. They pick the best part of the country. You know what I mean? They pick the best part of the country and they go buck wild building that dag. They go to the woods, you know what I mean, right? You brother know what I mean? They go to the most secluded area, you know, and they go buck wild building their best house, man. And the Creator is telling you, you do the same thing about the heaven you're going to. It's like the Creator is saying, you go ahead and build. You go ahead and build it. And brother, I'd be up. I don't hardly sleep. I think I go to sleep at like 4 a.m. for a couple hours, and I wake up again and I get busy, man, taking him up on that promise. I get busy, man. And the best highest heavens he has for you, you tell me that, I have a problem. I try to outdo the Creator, you know? And that's what it's saying here. It's saying the same thing here. And I lost the place I was at. Anyway, you get my point. That's the promise that's the promise for faithists. Imagine, and the Creator says the only thing is you have to make sure you're a fit companion for those worlds you go into. You know what I mean? You know how people, they go to a high society party and they dress up and then they get there and they try to act more intelligent than what they are. They try to fit in, you know. The Creator's saying the same apply to you. You have to be the type of person that you want to be around. You know, you ever see how there are people you like being around? You know, they ask about you. They are intelligent. They know how to hold a conversation. They look you in the eye. They know how to be quiet and give you space to talk. And then you respond. They know how to hold good conversations. They're positive. They have wisdom. You like being around them people. They smile at you. You know, you let down all your guards. And the Creator is saying that's what the higher heavens are like. And you don't want to, you would be out of place, you know, you hold grudges, you know, somebody said something and you got, you know, they stepped on your shoe, you know, now you all bent out of shape, you know, and no, man, the Creator is saying, no, you can't be around these people because they ain't like that, man. And you would feel too embarrassed. You know how you get embarrassed at, say you falsely accuse somebody and you find out you were wrong, you would be feeling like that all the time around these people. You know? So the Creator's saying, no, man, you know, if you want to go there, you have to work on yourself. Make yourself a fit companion. You know what I mean? In order to be around this group. And I mean, that's cool with me, man, you know? Now, where was I? If you're not building the kind of structure in which you want to live, you would do well to spend the rest of your days in this world creating a better one, meaning overcoming yourself, your own desires, my way. This is mine, mine. Gimme. You know, you can't do that. You know, you can't say that to me and, you know what I mean? Worshiping the devil, which is you, the Satan, the self. Some say, if I deny a thing out, it will not be so. Meaning, well, you just don't, you know, you just deny that it is or that it happened or that it's real. Just deny it. If I deny a thing out, it will not be so. But it will be so. We are all the result of what we have thought. Only as we replace what we have created with something better can we change our spiritual state and environment. Whatsoever we think, whatsoever we feel, whatsoever we will, it is more than dream stuff. It is more substantial than the chair you sit in. Your mental body is the substantial body that holds your physical form and shape. It is the body you will find yourself in when the physical form is lost. You will find the environment you have created. The moment you begin to bless others, you feel better. The moment you begin to bless others, you feel better because you are creating light from within your own soul. You must express the intelligence of your soul. Most of us have been thinking destructively, hatefully. One nation has hurled curses upon another, one religion upon another. People suffer on the physical plane from what their ancestors sowed. We are all born in the mental limitations, but we do not have to remain in them. Now we have come to a great cleansing time in the world's history. This is where I want to start emphasizing what I'm reading, because the time we're in right now with these wars, I used to say Pluto going into Aquarius, but the OAHSPE describes it differently. It says we're in a phase of Gia or Ag, a time of density, man, spiritual density, darkness. And this is what happens before a great change, what we're going through right now. It has to be this way, brethren. It's got to be that. It's just like childbirth. Now I'm not a father, but I've heard stories about childbirth, man. You know, I had I I I had an uncle, man. If my brother's listening, Chuck, Uncle Harold, I'm talking about Uncle Harold, he just recently passed away. He was made out of concrete, man. And yet he fainted at the birth of his first. His wife said he fainted, So I shouldn't laugh, man. I don't want to laugh, but if you knew my uncle, and then you hear, and I only say that because I'm emphasizing the intensity of the situation that we in right now. You know what I mean? We in an intense situation right now. We are all born into mental limitations, but we do not have to remain in them. And I read this. Oh no, here we go. Now we have come to a great cleansing time in the world's history. You see that? I think that's one of the reasons why I was led to read this to you. And I'm sure there are going to be other messages and I'm not one who, I think spiritual experiences happen to me a lot, but I think I'm wrong. Because towards the end of the video, when I get to the 7 churches, I think I might just have to start admitting that sometimes things happen to me, spiritual things. And I'm gonna share with you. Wait till when I start reading the 7 churches and what was given to me. And I think I'm gonna start admitting that sometimes I come under I come under some type of inspiration. I just do, man. I mean, for real. I hope it keep happening. Now we have come to a great cleansing time in the world's history, and human beings, and you brethren are under the same situation. I know you are. That's why I have this channel, man. I want you to come on and start talking and share. Don't frustrate the spirit, man. Get up here on this channel and start talking to other brethren. Share with them. You share yourself with us. Now we have come to a great cleansing time in the world's history, and human beings are suffering greatly from all the depressing conditions of the past. But the Creator is merciful, and this is expressed through angel hosts who have advanced far beyond the thoughts and feelings of mortals on earth. They have now returned and are trying to teach humanity what it must know. Because I've tuned in with these beings for many years and have been prepared under their inspiration, I know not only of conditions in the spiritual world, but in higher worlds as well. And I know the plan for the spiritual progression of humanity and for the building of a new world. I want to counsel you to be strong in your faith and the divine in you, because, brethren, listen, check this out. Now, this was written in like the 1990s, I think. This here account that we read was written in like the 1990s, 1999, I think. Look what he says. He says, because there is a great, I'm up top here. You probably can't see my cursor. I'm up top. He says, because there is a great storm raging in the spiritual world. That means it's coming to us. So this is 1999. See, now it's here. It's here now. He says, it is like a cyclone with lightning flashes and tremendous upheavals, like the No Kings March. You see people crying out for no more kings. That's the cosmic era. Did you know that? They doing that in the spirit. Those No Kings marches. Have you brethren heard about them? What do you think that is, man? That's the inspiration. That's inspiration from above. No king's marches. And it is raging over all the world, making people feel troubled and uneasy, creating a very disturbed, feverish state of mind. There is a terrific struggle going on and a great cleansing taking place. Now the time has come for you to side with the light or with the darkness. Everyone must make a decision as to whether or not they're going to do the will of the Creator. People will have to decide whether they want to go along in the old selfish way or to devote their talents and their means to learning and doing what the ever-present wants done. All who will not cooperate will not be able to withstand the process of purification. See, that's what we're going through. I'm telling you, man, at the end, when I get finished with the reading, I'm going to talk to y'all about something called EMUN in the OAHSPE. You know, E-Moon. Some of you probably already know what that is. I'm going to also talk to y'all about what purifying fire is. Purifying fire, man. And that's coming on the earth. Purifying fire. It's the type of truth, man, that it burns. It doesn't physically burn you. It burns your mind. Like when a thief gets caught and he knows he's caught. It's that type of purification. Well, maybe it's not the same, but it's like when the truth hits you. I mean, the truth that you have denied for so long, when the Creator, when he brings this light, how he's going to bring it, and you see your example, you cannot stand the light. You're going to run. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you. I did a post in my room about Revelation 6:16. That's what I'm talking about. Let me get through with this. I'll get to it. You know, wait, just hold tight, okay? They will continue to gain experience in the spiritual world. Let's read it again. All who will not cooperate will not be able to withstand the process of purification. They will prematurely pass from earth. They will prematurely pass from earth. They will continue to gain experience in the spiritual world, meaning the things you could have learned now, you just have to wait until you go into the spirit. And it's like repeating third grade. You just got to repeat till you learn, man. To give up the body, give up the worship of yourself, give up your own ego, give up your own desires and wants and wishes. You have to continue it in the next world. The fact that people are going to lose their physical bodies does not disturb the angel hosts. To them, there is no death. Experience in this world plays an important part in humanity's development because they see the mental miasma, I don't know what that means, so fearfully poisonous to our souls. They are determined to cleanse the planets. Some of us are being inspired to tell the world. There's my answer right there. There's my answer right there. I gotta hold up for a second. There's my answer right there. There's my answer right there. There's my answer right there. It's like the angel is saying, yeah, Yaakov, go. Speak to the University of Arizona. When they give you permission to go down there and speak on campus, go down there. That's my answer right there. That is my answer right there. Some of us are being inspired to tell the world. I'm going to take that as my answer right there. Right there. There's my answer. Tell the world. Tell them, man. You don't have to be a great speaker. Don't be shy. Don't be self-conscious. If the Creator is with you, that's all you, brother. That's all you need, brother. Just lead with your heart, man. Lead with your spirit, and then everything will fall into place. Don't be scared. I have worked and devoted myself entirely. He's talking about the person who wrote this now. He says, I have worked and devoted myself entirely to bringing some of these truths to humanity. For years, I worked consciously under the inspiration and protection of the Creator. and the angel hosts to help uplift the earthbound spirits into the spiritual planes in which they belong. The light in this place of radiance demonstrates that I'm telling the truth and revealing what the Creator wants to reveal. This light is now so powerful that human beings will be convinced that the Almighty is telling them something they must know in order to align themselves with the divine will. I cannot emphasize too strongly the fact that only those who are willing to devote their lives to doing the will of the divine will will be able to withstand the coming light brought by the glorious immortals. A new atmosphere is being created, and you must learn to accustom yourselves to it by degrees. You have to learn to inbreathe the atmosphere of heaven. The purpose of this ministry is to help humanity learn how to conform to the divine will. What is the divine will? It is difficult to explain in a sentence, but I might say that the divine will is the practice of benevolence in thought, in word, and in deed for the benefit of every human being on earth. Many people are practicing benevolence, but you probably realize that the practice of selfishness is much more organized. That's true. The practice of selfishness is much more organized. Capital and labor are fighting each other. One nation is fighting to get something from another nation. The whole world is fighting, and all of it is based on selfishness. In this country, the people who have much want to keep what they have. They want to earn more capital and get more dividends and have greater capacity for more benefits. When they die, where their treasure is, that's where their spirit will be. And the majority of people have their treasure in this world. We've often said that the kingdom of the Creator is coming on earth, but the first essential for that kingdom is a few human angels. There's my second answer. There's my second answer right there. That's my second answer. In order for the kingdom of the Creator to come on the earth, the first essential for that kingdom is a few human angels, a few light workers here on the earth. A few light workers here on this earth to go to work. Humanity on earth is imbued with the spirit of selfishness. They want everything for themselves. They get an education in order to advance themselves financially. They go to church thinking that thereby they will enhance their social position both here and in heaven. They give millions in charity, hoping thus to please God or to gain the adulation of their friends in the public. They think of self-gain in everything they do, even using their religion as a means to that end. They want something from the world. They want something from God. But how much are they willing to do for human welfare? We have come to a time when all that is going to be changed. Something is going to happen to make people want to serve and spend their millions and to circulate what they have hoarded for the benefit of their fellow man. You hear that? Creator's bringing something on this earth that's going to make people give up their riches and realize the only riches is to serve your brother. This will not come through any religious teaching of the past. It will come through a tremendous moral change in individual lives by expression of the will of the ever-present. That will is beginning to manifest. The workers in the light, the workers in the light, the workers in the light will develop the new benevolent system in which everything will work for the peace and prosperity of all. There will be no need to create a new set of laws. The monetary system now in existence will disappear. The monetary system now in existence will disappear because there will be no need of money when people have brought themselves wholly into accord with the divine will. Human beings will find peace either in 10 years or 1,000 years, either in this world or in the next, only when they begin to radiate the Creator's will, wisdom, and love. through their souls. The will of the ever-present is very tangible, very real. It can be seen now as a great enveloping glory surrounding this planet. This glory is intelligence, and it is sensitive to every thought and feeling. Anyone who will say, Almighty Creator, I will to do, I will to do, I will to do, I will to do, thy will, I will to do, I will to do thy will. I will think, feel, and act for the benefit of my fellow men. I will think creatively, feel creatively, will creatively for thy glory, for the good of all. Anyone who will seek sincerely to lay a foundation of right thinking, feeling, and doing will begin to tune their soul with this almighty presence. These are ancient beings here who have had thousands and thousands of years of experience in doing the will of the Creator. They have come to take over the care of this planet and cleanse away all the causes for suffering. If you will do the ever-presence will, I promise you that you shall have angel hosts come into your life, such as you have never dreamed possible. You shall see flashes of light, flashes of soul splendor and purpose, ruby, gold, white, blue, and orange. You shall become aware of beings of such majesty, such beauty as can be earned only by thousands of years of devotion to doing the will of the Creator. Some of you have pictured the immortals as flames of golden light. I'm voicing to you from this golden light a message of love from the Creator, a message of healing power that will work in your life if you apply it. If you will seek to apply this light for your safety, that goes into a little of what EMUN is, which I'm going to get into later. That speaks a little bit to that. That's a real thing. A light for your safety, a protection for your safety, your solace and your strength. You will have a power greater than anyone on this planet has and has had for centuries. Those who are working in the light daily shall have a power such as even the most extravagant imagination has not been able to conceive. Those who have been working with the immortals to sustain a power shall be panoplied, multiplied, with a glory so great that they will have spiritual knowledge known to a few on this planet. Everyone who seeks to serve the ever-present this way shall have ample proof every hour of every day that the Almighty walks with them and that the angels glorify them. I don't understand that. And the angels glorify them? Anyway, this is one of the things I promise to those who will do the Creator's will, that they shall become as very gods and goddesses. There shall be thousands of such, not just a few. I promise you this, not from myself, but from the great manifestations of golden love and wisdom now shining like the sun around and through this place of radiance. You shall see the beginning of the outward manifestations of this marvelous light filled with the soul power that has come to the planet. Get ready for it. Prepare yourself to receive it and pour it forth unto others. There's a third confirmation. Prepare yourself to receive it and to pour it forth unto others. Okay? Some of you are going to do entirely different work from that which you are now doing. You are going to be touched with the ever-presence power. You have thought that your life is commonplace and that it will always be so, but you are now going to do wonders. I have not begun to tell you the wonders of light and power that shall be manifested, for the heavens are open and all the earth is enveloped in the glory of the Creator. If you want these spiritual truths, you can have them. You can have even more, but not for yourself. You can have them only if you're willing to go through life according to these principles: helping, securing, comforting, and strengthening other souls. The Almighty requires you to consecrate your life, expressing your life to others. So all is working for good. We are proclaiming the mighty blessing that has come to the whole planet. Rejoice, the power is with you. The blessing is unfolding you. Light is shining into your minds at this moment. Every cell in your bodies is tingling with the light of this golden glory. The room is filled with angels, and everyone is as a son in the kingdom of the Creator. They want to serve you. They want you to serve with them, to serve the will of the ever-present. Okay, so now let me go to the room and greet everyone. That's the reading of the word. And if you brothers want, we can talk about it. If you have anything you want to share or what you got out of that. If not, then I'm gonna keep going. Nazarene, brother. Bishop, I gotta make you an admin. You keep coming in here. Let me make you an administrator. I guess I have to do it some other way. It won't let me make you a moderator. I'll have to find a way. And of course, brother Dave, brother. Fritz. See, Dave said Ethereal angels also move around AG and Gia to corporal worlds according to the Creator's direction and higher councils. And then Bishop said, my suggestion is to pray to the Father. Oh, okay. He says, my suggestion is to pray to the Father, seek his guidance on how to proceed. This works for me. Sometimes there are things that I want to do, but it will always prevail. Oh, okay. I think you're talking about me in University of Arizona. Yeah, I'm always doing that. I'm kind of afraid to do that. I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be, you know, I have doubts, but my desire to spread the OAHSPE is stronger. Brother Elijah, peace and light, brother. Brother Phil is here. Brother Phil, my brother Phil. Couple months into the OAHSPE, the brother is nearly finished with the daggone book, man. That is amazing. Sister Jamia, yep. Mahalia, yeah, 2 future goddesses in this room here. It's good to see y'all, man. It's good. I'm always glad, man, to see y'all. Now, I'm going to read the metaphysical understanding of the 7 churches of Revelation. Now, let me set it up, because we had a problem in this room last Friday. That's why I deleted the video. I just deleted the whole thing. I didn't edit it. I just deleted the whole thing. I didn't like the vibration that was on that video. I deleted that video and I banned the 2 people that brought that confusion and acrimony into the room, especially when we had a brother who said he was just getting into the OAHSPE. And so I that really, if it's something that gets to me, is when somebody is new or they don't know much about what we believe. And then it seems like it never fails. Something happens. It's just like that verse in the Bible where Satan comes along and then he causes some trouble. And so the brother and sister who were in this room last week, and y'all know, all of y'all know them. Y'all know the sister, okay? I got rid of them. I banned them. And I found out something about the sister. The spirit, I hate to say that. The spirit said, look at her name, because it had me thinking, I got led to Jezebel, okay? And the spirit had me look at her name, and her name means, part of it means thorn bushes. I'll show you right now. Should I read the 7 churches first, or let me do this first. Let me show you what I was messed up over the acrimony that went out in the room last week at that video. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop meditating on it. And then somebody give me another way of saying the spirit said this. I don't like to say that. There's got to be, I don't like, because the world uses it. I can't think of any other way. I sat down and I meditated and thought about what happened. Okay. And I was depressed over it, what happened. And the sister, you're going to know who I'm talking about when I show you this next screen, because I looked at her name. Okay, now here it is right here. The spirit had me look at her name. And then check out what it said. I'm trying to find what I saw. The meaning of that name that the sister has. Now, this is what I came across. And it bothered me, because I'd known her for a while. And check out what that name means in the Hebrew. In Hebrew. In biblical Hebrew, the meaning is harms, evils, and thorn bushes. To suffer harm, thorn bush. And I coupled that with what happened last Friday. And I was pretty confused. And I began to understand that the conversation turned acrimonious. What happened, for those of you who don't know, we had a discussion in the room at the end of the reading. Sister came on, brought confusion, brought acrimony. I asked her to hold her peace while she was talking so we could have a conversation. She didn't want to do it. I got a little firm with her, and then the whole situation degraded. The whole situation degraded, where a spirit came out of that sister, and she started attacking me and the brother. And then the brother that was in the room joined with the sister. And so the whole room and video was out of order. The whole thing was out of order. And so I got rid of the video, and I banned the sister and the brother from coming in here. Now, I'm going to read about the 7 churches of Revelation, okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit about Jezebel. and how it happened in real time. It happened in real. Now, I'm not saying the sister is Jezebel. It's a spirit that can come among you and you not even know it. And it can have ulterior motives. Now, the sister was trying to get us to, and as I look back, now I see what happened. I see why she was joined to the room, why she came in amongst our midst. She subscribes to Kabbalah, and she was trying to introduce that to the room, Kabbalah. And that's not compatible with the OAHSPE. The OAHSPE says not to even, that's not something, the creator, the creator doesn't subscribe to the Kabbalah. It was made by Jewish mystics. It's an alternative way of, it's an intermediary with the creator. And it sounds really good to look into. I'm going to go over the 7 churches of Revelation again. So let me set it up, and I'm going to read it metaphysically, and I'm going to expound a little more. When you read it metaphysically, I'm going to expound a little more on what happened spiritually in this room last week, and how even though we are faithists, it don't mean we're immune to spiritual attacks, to put our light out. That's another thing I learned too, that the 7 churches in Revelation, I believe that it's valid concerning spirituality, that it makes mention of warnings and rebukes that do apply to the life of a faithist. And some of those warnings talk about removing the candlestick out of its place. Now, I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened to Shalem, that community of brethren. Shalem, there were some issues, and ultimately that candlestick got removed. If we want to think that it can't happen to us, if we think that if we don't maintain ourselves, that nothing can happen to us, that's a form of deception, where we deceive ourselves. And if a candlestick is removed, it could happen and you not even know it. Now, bear with me, and I'm going to read, hold on a second. Okay, hold on one second. I think my computer is metaphysical understanding of the 7 churches of Revelation chapter 2 in the spirit of OAHSPE. Okay. So let's bring it up again. Now we're going to look at the metaphysical understanding of the 7 churches according to the OAHSPE. So let me bring it up. Just bear with me. And I learned I learned that as faithists, we have to use our minds. We have to exercise a lot of discernment, man. You know, I learned from what happened last week on that video, I learned that just because people say, lead you believe that they're a faithist, that it doesn't mean that you should let your guard down. And I let my guard all the way down, especially with this sister. I thought that I just let my guard down. And a lot of that teaching that she was doing, it went out of my room. A lot of what she was teaching, it went out of my room. And I didn't realize what was happening. I did not realize it. Okay, so here we're going to read the metaphysical. What they did here, what I asked the computer to do here, is to tell me about the churches in Revelation from an OAHSPE standpoint of view. From the OAHSPE standpoint of view. Now, if you want, you can read this. I'm not going to read this because it's a bit long. What I want to do is jump right to the churches. Okay. Let me read this. This sounds good. Each church reveals a specific test of the soul's vortex. And when you think about a test, that's something you have to take. One thing I'm learning as a faithist, you can't just sit and stagnate. You know what I mean? It requires some effort, largely of the mind. You know what I mean? It takes some doing. You know, being a faithist, it takes some doing. It ain't Christianity. That's what I've learned. A lot of the doing is with the mind. It ain't where you just, everything is okay. You know what I mean? That's what I'm learning. Each church reveals a specific test of the soul's vortex. Will it spin toward Jehovah's light or remain entangled in torpor and false inspiration? The overcomer is promised progression into higher resurrection. Here is the metaphysical interpretation drawn in the spirit of OAHSPE's cosmology and soul evolution, angelic administration, and the triumph of Jehovah's light over the old order. And in short, that's what we're witnessing right now in our world today, in our reality. We're going through a birthing process. Brethren, we're going through a birthing process. I can't say this enough. The things that are going on in the world are unique to what we have ever gone through before. I hear people saying that who ought to know, older people. Earlier on the video, I talked about the shortages of fuel and oil over in Asia right now, in Australia. And in a few weeks, because the supply has been cut off, the Strait of Hormuz right now over in Iran that you brethren have heard about, that is closed. There is no more oil flowing out of that area. Iran closed it. And there's another outlet for oil and gas in the Red Sea called Bab el-Mandab or whatever, something like that. If that gets closed, I can't even imagine what the world is going to be like. Already, it's changing for real. I mean, this is for real now. And I ain't hardly trying to fearmonger, man. You know, I showed you a little bit of the videos. They waiting a week in line, 1 week for gas in India at some places. I showed you. Go back to the earlier part of the video. It's in Australia. They're due to run completely clean out of gas and oil. I think it's gas and oil. Okay? This is real stuff. This time that we're in right now, where the Red Star is traveling through. Now, I hope I have some words of comfort with, after I get finished with the 7 churches, I'm going to go into EMUN, and I think it applies to FAITHIST, and it should warm your heart. Let me start with this first. Let's read the metaphysical understanding of the 7 churches of Revelation, because it's written in the language that's faithful to the OAHSPE. The church at Ephesus, it says the vortex of works and discernment and first love loss. It says the church at Ephesus is commended for its labor, patience, and hatred of the deeds of the Nicolaitans. The Nicolaitans are those who would impose their hierarchical rule over the Spirit. Yet it has left thy first love. Now, metaphysically, that's saying this is the outermost vortex, furthest away from the soul's initial awakening to Jehovah through righteous action and discernment of false spirits. The first love is pure, childlike, attunement to the Creator's voice before the soul becomes entangled in external works. When the vortex spins only on duty, without the inner flame, you're like a robot, in other words. You just go through the motions. When the vortex spins only on duty, without the inner flame of Jehovah's presence, the lampstand is removed, meaning you're pretty much a robot. There's no oil that powers the spirit. It says the soul loses its guiding light and falls back into the first resurrection. The call is to repent and return to the original vortex of pure inspiration. That little bit of extra you had. That pure inspiration, man. This also goes along with the virgins, the foolish and the wise. The foolish had oil, the unwise, the foolish ran out, and the wise had oil. Just like a car, you can't run it without oil. You know what I mean? Without any get-go. When you lose your first love, you lose some get-go. You lose some oil, you know. You lose motivation. You have the knowledge, but you're like a robot. It's kind of like a woman where she knows if you don't love her anymore. I mean, they have that sense about them, you know. And you may think you're doing everything right. I don't know. I'm just trying to paint a picture. You know, I think it's faithful to the OAHSPE. You lose your first love. And then we get to the church of Smyrna, the vortex of tribulation and spiritual poverty. But true riches. It says Smyrna faces tribulation 10 days, is poor yet rich, and is promised a crown of life for faithfulness unto death. Okay, so we may be in that period of time right now. We may not be. I don't know. The world is certainly is certainly in tribulation. We are certainly in tribulation. And I think that it will get, I hate to say it, but I think we are only just beginning. I think that childbirth, in this sense, it takes a little time before I don't know how to say it. I don't really feel comfortable saying the advent of the kingdom. We know that there's a purifying fire that is going to fall on the earth and cause a purification in thought and word and deed, and a turning away from riches unto the service of our fellow man, and to OAHSPE principles. Metaphysically, the Church of Smyrna, it says, this center governs the soul's confrontation, meaning Smyrna, this center, because these churches here, really, it's people. It's really people. You know, like the Bible says that ye are the temple of God, and any man that defileth the temple, him will God destroy, or something like that. Really, these churches here is talking about people as the temple where the light of the Creator is in us. The light of the Creator is in us, man. This center governs the soul's confrontation with the suffering of the corporal world and the illusions of the lower heavens. The 10 days symbolize the temporary cycles of testing within a vortex. Okay, so they say it's more than just a period of time like right now. They say that it is, I can agree with that. It symbolizes the temporary cycles of testing within a vortex still close to the earth. Okay, it's kind of like when a thunderstorm, it comes, it passes, and it says material poverty is spiritual wealth. Material poverty is spirit. When you're poor, you're spiritually rich. It says because the soul has begun to starve the drudges of self-importance. Here, the aspirant learns that death to the lower self opens the gate to the second resurrection. That sound right, don't it? That sound right. That's our struggle, overcome the self. It says the overcomer escapes the second death. Now, this says reincarnation back in the lower grades. And of course, the OAHSPE, it don't teach reincarnation like coming back into a body. This means it differently. It means it differently when it says reincarnation here. It could say like regression or something similar to stuck. You know what I mean? The overcomer escapes the second death, which is regression back into lower grades, and receives the crown, an Ethereal wreath of light that lifts the soul to higher angelic administration. Okay, then we get the Pergamum. That's the vortex of doctrine and inner compromise. Okay, doctrine and inner compromise. Stuck on the doctrine and morally weak. You're stuck on a doctrine and morally weak. Pergamum holds fast to Jehovah's name, but it tolerates the doctrine of Balaam, selling its birthright for earthly gain, and the Nicolaitans, false authority. And I'm going to say this, I think that the Nicolaitans are also included. I think we have present day Nicolaitans in the FAITHIST community. There are present day Nicolaitans in the FAITHIST community. And I hope the Creator, I hope the Spirit moves, man. you know, because the best type of deception is the one you cannot see. It's the one you cannot see, man. And I urge anyone who sees this video, man, to get revelation on the Nicolaitans, man. It's where the few take rulership to themselves. They separate themselves. They give themselves monikers. They give themselves names. I'm trying to hit home, man, because I got a responsibility. And I don't want to come plain and clean, man. But I'm trying to get as close as I can. And at some point, I'm going to come out frank, clean, and clean and clear. I'm referring to some brethren in our midst who are the Nicolaitans. When you take on a false authority to yourself, that's the Nicolaitans, man. And it should make sense that that doesn't belong in faithism. Now, I'm going to leave it right there. Hopefully, I'll be reading more that'll make my point more stronger. It says, now, metaphysically, this is the vortex of the mind and tongue, the place where doctrine and teaching can become weapons of Lord spirits. How do you like that? Balaam's error is the compromise that mixes Jehovah's light with selfish or sensual vortices. The Nicolaitans represent the lingering influence of false gods who would rule the soul through organized churches rather than direct communion. The sharp two-edged sword from the angel's mouth is the pure word of Jehovah that cuts away these entanglements. Repentance realigns the vortex so the soul no longer needs the drudges of intellectual pride or ecclesiastical power. Okay, those are brothers who feel a need to emphasize their knowledge over other brethren. You allow yourself to be the acknowledged leaders of other brethren. That's intellectual pride and an appeal to ecclesiastical power. And it could be even without you knowing it. That's the effect that it'll have. Thyatira, the vortex of works, charity, and Jezebel's seduction, tolerance of false prophecy. Now it says Thyatira is praised for charity and service, but rebuked for suffering that woman Jezebel who teaches fornication and idolatry. It says metaphysically, this center governs the heart and creative fire of the soul. Jezebel symbolizes the seductive lower spirits, often appearing as beautiful angels in the first resurrection, who tempt the soul into mixing divine love with carnal or idolatrous vortices, spiritual adultery. The soul here has to advance in outer works, but must now purify the inner flame. The call to cast her into a bed of tribulation is the necessary suffering that burns away false loves so the soul may rise untangled. Overcomers receive power over the nations, which is mastery over their own lower nature. And the morning star, the ethereal light of Jehovah that heralds the cosmic dawn. Now, this is what I was pointing to earlier in the video about what happened to this room. And I'm equating that sister with Jezebel. I'm equating her with Jezebel because she had been coming to this room for almost a year before I took the medical emergency break that I had to take. And all that time, I did not know that she was under spirit of Kabbalah. And now that I recall, she taught that right here in this room. She taught it. And I didn't know. All I knew is that she was using strange terms. She sounded like she knew what she was talking about. She had the right spirit. I couldn't hear it. At one time, I told her that I tried to study the Kabbalah. I could not hear my father's voice. I left it alone. And she still tried to, encourage me to, well, you have to study it. You have to devote all this time to it. All that time, I didn't realize that she was trying to inject the Kabbalah into this room where the OAHSPE was going out. And you can't pair the OAHSPE with anything else. You can't pair it. The OAHSPE is not married to any other doctrine, any other spiritual book. I mean, it exposes them. It has a different system of resurrection. I learned, it tells you that it's okay to do things like eat meat. You see? So it wasn't until what happened last week that that these things were revealed to me. The sister came on. She wanted to make a comment, and then she started talking. I asked her to hold her peace so I could comment, and she just kept right on going. And I had to get a little firm with her. And then that's when the whole thing steered out of control. We had a brother in the room who was just getting familiar with the OAHSPE, and the whole thing fell right into place. Here we got a brother, and now he's got to witness all of this friction and acrimony. It was perfect the way it happened. And then we had another brother in the room in the chat that was cheering the sister on. And then it just taught me a lesson. Just because you say you're a faithist, other people say they're a faithist, it don't mean you shouldn't let your guard down. Now, Christianity teach, don't say anything, don't do anything. Just sit there and be dumb. Don't use your discernment. If you see something, just close your eyes. And that's what Christianity teach. Don't judge, don't, just, cast the log out of your own eye. And that part is true. Incidentally, judge yourself before you judge others. You can't judge someone's eternity, but you can judge and make a discernment. That's what we read now. It's telling you things to look out for. And if you don't have a way to discern or to make a judgment, then you know what I mean? You're open for any kind of deception. So I cast the sister out. I cast the brother out. And I learned a lesson. Now, they can come back if they get in contact with me, and then we talk, and then I'm satisfied with their fidelity to the Creator, to the OAHSPE. Creator, we all come under deception, Now we get to Sardis. It's the vortex of the name of life, but you're spiritually dead. It says Sardis has a name that it lives, yet is dead. Only a few garments are undefiled. Metaphysically, this is the vortex of reputation and outer form. Pride and appearances. Pride and appearances. The vortex of reputation and outer form. The danger of the second resurrection, where the soul The danger of the second resurrection, where the soul believes it has arrived, yet remains asleep to Jehovah's living presence. The drudges of complacency have infiltrated the vortex, leaving only a hollow name. So you don't have to be on your toes anymore. You made it. You're part of the second resurrection. Don't worry about it. It says the drudges of complacency have infiltrated the vortex, leaving only a hollow name. You believe you are alive, but you're dead. You don't have the inner flame. There's no inspiration. There's no judgment. There's no discernment. There's no nothing. Just nothing. Hollow on the inside. The command to strengthen the things which remain and watch is a call to rekindle the inner lamp before the angel comes as a thief. The sudden Etherian influx of cosmic light that exposes all dead works. That's the purifying fire to come on the world. The influx of cosmic light that exposes all dead works. It convicts people. People get convicted. The influx of cosmic light will convict people, and it'll make them want to run and say to the rocks to fall on them. You know, I'm getting ready to read that part after I get finished with the churches here. It says, the overcomer is clothed in white raiment, which is the pure spirit, and their name is not blotted from the book of life. Now, OAHSPE doesn't speak of a book of life, but I think what they're saying here when they say the book of life is their name is not blotted from making the resurrection. How about that? You know, because you're either ascending or descending, according to the OAHSPE. Okay, now Philadelphia, the vortex of brotherly love and the open door, they have little strength, but they have great opportunity. It says Philadelphia has a little strength, yet has kept the word, not denied the name. An open door is set before it that no one can shut. Now, metaphysically, it says this is the higher vortex of fraternal love and humility. The soul that has passed through the Lord test and now stands at the threshold of Etherian realms. Little strength means it relies not on itself, but on Jehovah alone. The open door is the direct portal to higher resurrection. The synagogue of Satan, which is false angelic hosts claiming authority, cannot close it. Here, the soul is kept from the hour of temptation, okay? And I think that goes into what EMUN is, emu. I'm going to talk about that after I get finished here. It says that comes upon the whole world, the hour of temptation that comes upon the whole world. And that is the final testing of old cycles. The overcomer becomes a pillar in the temple of Jehovah, never to go out again. Now, the operative phrase, I think, here is the hour of temptation. And it equates it with something that comes upon the whole world. And it also says it is the final testing of old cycles. So we just came out of the Ark of Bond in 1848. Now we in Cosmic. And it's kind of like the after effects of Bond are beginning to smoke and flame out. It's like we're in the final stage of, if I may say so, it's kind of like we're in the final stage before the advent of the kingdom. In other words, a move that the Etherians do on the earth to change the current system of things. We are already in a time where there is certainly a change taking place. It's certainly a change taking place right now. And we don't really feel it. I'll bet you the people in Australia are feeling it. when you don't got no access to oil and gas, you just go to the gas station, or Asia or Pakistan or Japan. Brethren, these people are either out of oil and gas or will run out. That means their way of life. And I think that goes back to that verse, when you don't have no foundation, the rains fall, the wind blows, and the foundation breaks up, because the foundation was founded on sand. I think the world is getting ready to find out what that verse means. I'm going to go into a little bit of that when I get through here with the churches here. Laodicea, the vortex of lukewarmness, the final test of the cosmic era. Okay, let's read it then. Laodicea is neither hot nor cold. It's lukewarm. It's self-satisfied and blind to its own nakedness. Metaphysically, it says this is the crown vortex of the soul in the transition to cosmic. It represents the comfortable, institutionalized spirit of the old order that believes it is rich in doctrine and ritual, yet it is wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. The lukewarm state is the most dangerous because it lacks the fire of repentance. The counsel is to buy gold tried in the fire, which is the purified spirit through trial. And white raiment, which is ethereal covering, and eye salve, which is spiritual vision. The overcomer sits with the angel upon the throne, full at one-ment with Jehovah in the higher heavens. And then the summary, it says, in the cosmic era, these seven vortices are being quickened across the earth. The old churches, outer forms inspired by lower heavens. So here it says churches are outer forms inspired by lower heavens. Okay, I was saying the churches are the temples of the people. But it can be dual because it's addressed to the people in the temples. And I think that you can conclude, that you can agree that the light of the Creator is in us. So they can harmonize here. 7 churches, the old churches, outer forms inspired by lower heavens. Are passing away as humanity awakens to Jehovah's direct voice. The overcomer in every soul is one who aligns all 7 sinners into a single ascending vortex of light, rising from the first resurrection into the ethereal realms of everlasting progression. As OAHSPE declares, the time of false gods and divided heavens is ending. The age of one unified family under Jehovah has dawned. This is the living spirit of the revelation, not fear, but the joyous call to purify the inner churches so that Jehovah's light may shine throughout the soul, unhindered. The angel still speaks. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. Okay, now let me go to the room before I go into the final segment, which has to do with Revelation 6:16, which I hope is a real blessing, man. I hope it really, really is a really, really, really good blessing. So, okay, you guys pretty quiet in the chat today. Keon Cooper, balanced light to you too, brother. See, Phil Davis, my brother, he says, also, I remember you now. You're the one who caused me to start reading the extra biblical books. You were calling them books of life. You used to always wear a white robe and you had a food ministry. Huh, yeah, that sounds like me. Yeah, my life has been a progression, and yeah, I did have a food ministry. I still have that. It just wasn't really, I didn't have to call upon it a lot. I just kind of forgot about it. Yeah, there were different books that I was drawing from. It's been a journey, man. You know, it's been a journey. It's my life. Spirituality has been a journey to get to where I am now. You know, it's been a real journey, man. But it's like I finally have found a pot of gold. You know, the OAHSPE is about as clear as you can get, I think, when it comes to listening to the Father's voice. About as clear as it can get to hearing the Creator's voice. I think, man, you have to go through a test. You know, I think a lot of faithists have to. You got to go through a lot, man. A twisting road to test your endurance. And whether after all the deception you've been through, all the lies you've been through, all the darkness you've been through, if you can still keep looking, man, for what resonates with you 100%, then you got to know that you come into contact with the Creator, man. You got to know it, man. I mean, it's unexplainable. But now I'm going to read from the final segment. I want to talk about Revelation 6:6. And I learned something about, because I've been thinking about the situation in the world today, and it's going to affect us. The situation in the world today is going to affect you, brethren, whether we like it or not, man. Now, the benefit of the faithists are the promises that we see. Like in the Old Testament, it says something like, promises protection for my chosen, which I am equating with the faithists. I'm getting ready to read something here that I found out about that I want to share with y'all. Also about something called EMUN that applies to faithists, man. Now, there's a saying in Revelation 6:16. I think you can see it on the screen here. There's a saying in Revelation 6:16 where the world says to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the Lamb, for the day of his judgment has come, and who shall be able to stand? Now, I went to AI and asked it to reframe it according to the OAHSPE. And it's pretty interesting, man. It's pretty interesting. It says, according to the OAHSPE, the Bible verse you were referring to, Revelation 6:16. Let's look at Revelation 6:16. Revelation 6:16, King James Version. So let's look at that. What does it say? Let's look at the chapter. And I beheld when he opened the sixth seal. And lo, there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth and hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. All this has to do with going into dark regions of the solar phalanx travel through the ethereal worlds. It's talking about dark. It's talking about AG. And heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, they hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. You'd have to say these are the people of the world. The light, the darkness is falling, the dense region of the Ethereal worlds, and the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the chief captains, the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man, they hid themselves in the dens and the rocks and the mountains. And they said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come. Who shall be able to stand? Now, I asked AI to put it into OAHSPE terms, okay? It is a symbolic description of the terror and despair that will come upon the wicked and the followers of false gods when the true light of Jehovah, the all-one creator, is revealed in the transition to the cosmic era. OAHSPE's interpretation. OAHSPE does not give a verse-by-verse commentary on Revelation, but it reinterprets such apocalyptic imagery through its core teachings on cycles of light and darkness. The great day of wrath is not primarily a physical destruction of the planet, but the end of a long cycle of spiritual darkness. The time when false gods, saviors, idols, and the beasts ruled over mortals and lower heavens. As the cosmic light increases, the old systems of dominion collapse. That's what we're witnessing right now. They say, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. And OAHSPE, this represents the direct presence and judgment of Jehovah, or his highest heavenly representatives. It is the overwhelming reality of the one creator shining forth. See that? The overwhelming reality of the one creator shining forth. Because right now, people can't hear it. Don't care about it. But when the overwhelming reality of the creator shined forth, however, he allows that to happen, exposing all falsehood, hypocrisy, and idolatry. No one can hide from Jehovah's all-seeing light and justice. So it's like now you can deny the light. You can deny Jehovah. And so they call to the rocks and the mountains to fall on them. This is a dramatic expression of utter despair and desire for annihilation. The people, which are the kings, captains, rich men, bondmen, and free, as described in Revelation 6:15, they have built their lives on lies, savior worship, war, priestcraft, and flesh eating, and service to false lords and gods. Now here's that purifying light. When the true light comes, they realize their entire spiritual foundation is crumbling. Rather than repent and turn to Jehovah, they prefer death or non-existence over facing the consequences of their choices. So it's kind of like, instead of, you would think that people would just humble themselves and just submit to Jehovah. But human nature is such that they do something, or they get, like when people get caught, they run from the law, they run from the police. They know they're going to get caught, but they run anyway. It's like, instead of just giving up and submitting yourself to what you know is true, you run from it. You try to, that's human nature. It says, in OAHSPE's language, these souls are of low grade. They have bound themselves to the beast, the combined dominions of organized religions, including much of Christianity that OAHSPE calls Christian. When the higher heavens open and the false gods are cast down or lose their power, These mortals and their accompanying atmospheric angels experience great fear and torment. They would rather be crushed and hidden than stand before the purity and truth of Jehovah, spiritual meaning in OAHSPE. It illustrates the pain of awakening for those who have resisted resurrection. The wrath of the Lamb is interpreted not as personal revenge by a savior figure, but as the inevitable law of cause and effect. Darkness cannot stand in the presence of light. The suffering is self-inflicted by long attachment to error. OAHSPE teaches that many such souls will enter the first resurrection, which is the lower heavens, for schooling and labor, and even remain in Hada, the lowest atmosphere, in knots or hells until they are willing to repent and begin purification. That means to face the truth, man. True faithists, those who have already separated from the beast and live in covenant with Jehovah alone, do not fear this time. They welcome the new light and participate in building Jehovah's kingdom on earth. OAHSPE frames this as part of the larger judgment at the end of the Ark of Bond, and the dawn of cosmic. The old religious systems, including corrupted forms of Christianity, lose their power, and humanity is called to rise to a higher grade through direct inspiration from Jehovah. Non-resistance, purity, communal righteousness, rather than hiding in fear or clinging to old idols. In short, according to OAHSPE, the verse symbolizes the terror of the unrepentant when Jehovah's light exposes all falsehood. It is a warning against building one's life on the sand of savior worship and idolatry, and an invitation to become a faithist who walks openly in the Creator's light. Instead of begging the rocks to fall and hide them, and then it says, for related teachings, see the Book of Judgment, especially the judgments on the beast and the religious sections describing the transition into the cosmic era. Okay. So that's Revelation 6:16 and what it means in the OAHSPE spirit. When they say to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath has come, and who shall be able to stand? Now, the final segment that I want to share with y'all real quick. It's quite a blessing, man, because I think we want to know what's going to become of us. Will we be protected? How will we get dealt with in this time that we're in right now? What's going to become of us, man? I mean, it's natural to think that way. What is the plan for us in the times that are coming? If you see trouble coming, man, whether you're a faithist or not, you're going to start thinking about your situation. You know what I mean? You're going to start thinking about your situation. Now, I can't find it here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just re-ask the question again on AI. According to the OAHSPE, what is EMUN in childlike terms? Okay. Okay, now this is a term in the OAHSPE. And this term is called emun. Emun. It is a special word from the ancient language called panic, first language of the earth. It simply means a choking atmosphere. Now, a thick, heavy, stuffy kind of air that makes it hard to breathe or see clearly. Now, I hope I'm not mischaracterizing this. When I read it, it seemed to be a way of protection for faithists while we're here on the earth. Now let's look at it real quick. Okay. This will be the final segment for I close the video. It says, imagine you were playing outside on a super foggy, smoky, or dusty day. The air feels yucky and thick, like it is squeezing your throat or covering your eyes with a blanket. You can't run and play freely because the bad air is choking everything. That's emo, a choking, heavy atmosphere that gets in the way. In OAHSPE's big story about the heavens and the earth, Iman is used like a special wall. Listen to this. Iman is used as a special wall or cloud that the creator Jehovah and his angels put around the earth sometimes. Look at this. It helps protect or separate things, like keeping certain spirits, the ones who have just left their bodies, from getting into mixed up or lost, or being lost right away. It is part of how the higher angels, like Ashars, who are guardian helpers, takes care of someone when they die. And then it says, for example, it talks about the earth being surrounded with walls of Iman during big changes like what we're in right now, or cleanups in the spirit world, so things can be sorted out gently, like putting up a soft fence made of thick, misty air. Now, the definition that I found said it's also a way for Jehovah to protect the light workers, which I'm referring to FAITHIST, while they're on the earth in times of trouble. This definition, let me see, I don't think I'll be able to find. I asked for a definition and it gave me a definite, let me see, more Iman stories in OAHSPE. Let me see if I can. I was looking in particular for the definition that referred to the protection that FAITHIST, while they're on the earth, come under when the earth goes through its changes. Now, I can't find it. Without the Iman walls, in Cosmin, OAHSPE says that in the new age of light, in Cosmin, we learn to rise above heavy, choking things like old Iman. We listen to Jehovah's voice inside our hearts, live in pure love and good works, and don't need thick barriers anymore. The goal is clear, bright spirit. Everyone helping everyone with no confusion between earth and heaven. Now, see, that kind of points to what I was trying to say, but I like the clear definition I saw where it says something that Jehovah uses to sustain FAITHIST in a time such as now, where we see the earth going through the changes it's going through. We should be able to, if we're paying attention, we see that this time there is we are in a serious situation. Clearly, we're in a serious situation. And in a few weeks, even if the war stopped today, they talk about we're going to feel the effects for months, maybe even years. And to me, it sounds like a cleansing where the old system is being removed and a new system coming on the earth. And none of us will be able to get away from it, man. if you're paying attention, I'm going to talk about it on my videos. I'm going to talk about what's going on, man. I've never seen what's going on now where they show you people lining up for gas, countries talking about we're due to run out, the Gulf Coast countries getting their water desalination plants bombed. If they lose their water desalination plants, they can't drink, they can't have water to drink. And this is going on right now. Those Gulf Coast countries that are getting bombed, Iran is bombing them because they conduct U.S. forces on their land. We are in a time where a time of aging, where it is clear that a change is upon us. We are the generation that's got to see what I think is the roughest part of this cycle of the cosmic era. That's us. So, brethren, our prayer, man, is for FAITHIST living in Australia, over in Asia. Eventually, it's going to be for us. At some point, man, we are going, remember what I read, man, in Radiance. The angel said the current system was going to be done away with. And you kind of have to understand how that's got to be, because if it don't change, you know what I mean? We won't change. Wow. So, Jehovah, thank you for the video. And I pray that for the days to come, that we can redeem the time, that we can redeem the time, that we can be a light in your name. So let it be. All right, brethren, that's it. I don't think if anybody wants to come on, you know, the link is up top. And if you want to say anything or have a discussion before I close, feel free. How y'all doing, man? Have y'all been paying attention to what's going on? Has anybody been paying attention to what's going on in the world? And how have you been hearing? You probably, one of the first things I know that you probably see the higher grocery prices. That's one of the first things you see. And the gas prices. How's the gas where y'all live at? Over here where I am, this is one of the cheaper part of the countries anyway, Tucson, Arizona. It's like $4.20 a gallon. And I'm just saying, man, you know, brethren, we living in a world, we don't know what tomorrow will be, man. You know, we don't know, man. I mean, we know that the system of things, it can't go on. We can't go on like this, man. This is real talk. We living in a time where the Creator is he's tearing down religion. He's tearing down the capitalist system we live under. He's tearing down he's tearing it all down to where we have to, I don't know what's ahead, man. I just hope that he help us. Every day, man, it's just news just get worse and worse. I mean, I'm particularly just paying attention to people over in Asia. That's got my attention, man. You know, you'd be crazy to see trouble coming. For FAITHIST, you have to know that if there was anybody in the world who have nothing to fear, is FAITHIST. But that don't mean, man, you can't be concerned about your brethren over in Asia. That can't be easy on you. I'm sorry. If you have FAITHIST and you tell me, you know, you don't have no for people who are suffering in places where just because you don't live there. I don't get that, man. I don't get it, man. You know? All right, so it's about time to go ahead and shut it down unless anybody wants to come on and say anything. You know, thank you, brethren, for joining me, man. You know, I'm sorry about what took place last Friday. And the example that went out last Friday, man. I'm really sorry about that. And it really caught me off guard. And I didn't recover till after it was all over with in order to make sense of what was going on. So, brethren, that's it, man. You know, with y'all permission, you know, I'll go ahead and close the video. Okay, Phil, so you say you got the books? Good. Right on. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it, brother. Enjoy it, man, and pass them along to someone else, you know. I also tell brethren, if you know, another good way to be a light is I have index cards, and you can just put a little something on it. Mine have the picture of the OAHSPE and then a little saying on the back of it. You just drop them, man. You don't even have to say nothing to nobody, you know. Drop them. You don't even have to say anything, man. You know, redeem the time. Be a light worker. If we got to be here, you know, medically, we in these bodies working against us. And if you're gonna go down, man, go down swinging. You know, I know every day, man. It's a drag being in the body, man. For me, how would you like sitting in a chair for 5 years? Imagine that, man. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, though. You know what I mean? The thing I love knowing that it's only a temporary thing. It's a temporary thing. You know what I mean? If y'all watch 30 years among the dead and a spirit in the wandering through the spirit world or something like that, those videos, it'll bless your heart, man. Well, brother, that's the best I could do for right now. Nobody wants to come on. Then let me thank y'all for joining me, man. You know, Friday, it'll be same bad time, same bad channel. And until then, man, shoot, hope that the Creator give us wisdom, knowledge, and we can keep redeeming the time. Look at what's going on. Look at the world, man. This is serious, serious business. So, brethren, please, thank you for joining me. And until I see you again, the Creator be with you in love, peace, and joy, and righteousness. See you.